So start small. Don't sit down and think you're going to write 3,000 words or 2,000 words or 1,500 words. Maybe you start out by writing 25. I just want to let you know that the sound for this episode is a little wonky because I had the settings wrong. I had set all the settings up and connected to the right speakers and everything prior to starting record. And then the power went out, and when it came back on again, I don't know, just thought it would still be the way I had it set up. So when the power came back on and I started recording again, it was all set to a default setting. So the sound is not what I would hope it to be for this returning episode, but I'm super happy to be here, and I'm really glad that you're here with me, and let's get into the episode. Hello, writers and crafters. This is Valerie Isan, and this is episode 206 of the podcast. It's March 20th, 2026, as we record this. Happy spring equinox. Today, I am going to be starting a series on starting over again, or coming back to yourself and your writing. I think it was I wrote this down somewhere, episode 198 of the podcast. We did an episode, Eric and I, on the art of starting over again, and that was back in September 2025, and it's time to look at that again. The next several episodes will have the same flavor because I think that we all get lost sometimes, and we struggle with getting back on the page, getting back to ourselves. I've been struggling with this for some time now, a couple of years really, if I'm going to be honest, and not put an Instagram filter on my life for you. But with my long journey to Costa Rica via car, which I hope you all watched, Pura Vida Bound hashtag. And this is the 1 month anniversary of us living in Costa Rica. And it's the new moon yesterday, so I just thought that today would be a great day to talk about starting over and revisiting this struggle. I want to use my new location and my hero's journey road trip and that new moon to ritualize this starting over again with purpose. So today's episode will be on 5 take-home tips for getting started anywhere on your journey home. Home to yourself, home to the page, all of that. So first I want to thank my existing patrons for believing in my work offline and here on the podcast. I've just revamped my Patreon page. I am really, really, really pleased with it. I'm so proud of it, and proud of me, proud of my work on simplifying this page. There were just too many paywalls and exclusions on the old one, so now it's fresh and easy. And if you are a patron, you will get, at any tier, you will get all my content, always. All my essays, vlogs, connections videos, anything. Anything that I make, I will put up here on Patreon so that you, as a patron, can have it. I have 2 levels now, a supporter and a backer. You can support me and my dreams and my writing and my aligned life here in Costa Rica for $11.11 USD. And I would be so, so grateful, truly, from heart to heart, gratitude, for this gift from you. And if you want coaching too, there's going to be two live calls each month, and you can have that for $55.55 USD a month. You will never find coaching sessions for less money than this. But it's a gift that I really felt called to providing for the writing community. So if you've ever wanted continued support for your writing and accountability for your projects, then this is the way to do it. So you can go to patreon.com/Valerie Isan to become a patron of the arts and of me. And you can support my friend and colleague and resident ghostwriter and friend of the podcast, author Eric Mertz, at patreon.com/StrangeAirStories for short stories in the paranormal mystery genre. He's a really great writer. I love his videos about his inspiration behind the stories he puts up. So yeah, go check out his stuff too. So author updates. I have written a couple of essays, published one of them on the Patreon page. You can access it, by the way, for free by doing a free trial option on the Patreon page. I'm thinking about lifestyle vlogging about Costa Rican life because followers have been asking me about nature here and how we're settling in and if the dogs are okay. And so I just thought about maybe doing a video series, like a vlogging series for it. So I've never vlogged before, but it's kind of like a podcast, I guess. So more on that later. I'll let you know if I put up some stuff there. We are settling into our rental home here. The internet is a little so we have some strategies that we're going to instill very soon, like Tuesday. I think we'll be in Palmar to pick up a satellite antenna kit and then get battery backup for electricity shortages and stuff like that. So hopefully that will no longer be an issue. I am fired up with new content ideas. So I'm really excited right now. This is all good, amazing stuff. Currently I am reading a cozy fantasy called The Crescent Moon Tearoom by Stacy Sivinski. There's going to be a link in the show notes for the bookshop.org store. And I heard on Rachel Herron and Sasha Black have this podcast, monthly podcast behind a paywall called The Black Heron. And in one of those episodes, Rachel was talking about this great book that she just read called The Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy, which I had started reading before moving and had put it down because it was, super like juicy, atmospheric, like not dense writing, but very poetic. And it was a little meatier than I could handle while we were trying to pack up the house. So it's somewhere in the storage unit right now, but it inspired me to go back and read that as soon as I find it. So that's, somewhere in the stack there. And I had almost finished reading We Need Your Art, Stop Messing Around and Make Something by Amie and McNee, which is resource tip. I was so close to being done, like 7/8 of the way through. And the movers packed it. I was just sitting on the couch where I was sitting and I'd set it down and they thought, oh, books. So they packed it away. So I haven't, it was horrible to almost finish a book and then not be able to finish reading the last chapter because, you left it in a hotel room or something like that. Well, in this case, I'll get it back as soon as I find it in the storage unit. But yeah. I almost finished that one, and I will be going back to finishing that later. And I've also pulled out Creative Act by Rubin again. Now it's on my bedside table. So I think that my reading habits have changed a lot since I started this journey, since December when we were packing up the house, and then the 7+ weeks it took us to drive here, and then the month of, getting settled in. My reading habits have totally changed. I thought I would have so much time to read while I was on the trip and just not at all. So I feel kind of like I did. There's been other points in my life, like in deep grief, where I haven't been able to read, just been like distracted. I can't get into something. So I kind of feel like that's the way it's been for me for the last couple of months. So creative act, which is why I brought that back up again, because the chapters, the essays, whatever, are short and, you know, have kind of a completion, but still have a narrative thread of creativity throughout the whole book. So I will be pulling that out and dipping into that too. I think that'll be a good way to get back into reading. Okay, so let's get into the main topic. I have 5 tips for you that I thought of on the way here in the car. So number 1 is to let yourself be imperfect. And this one is so hard for me, you guys. You know, if you've been a listener on the podcast, or if you followed me in any of the other channels throughout my writing life so far, this is an MO for me. I find it really hard to like show up imperfectly. I somehow mix up imperfection and not being professional, and I just don't like learning in public where people can see me failing. And I'm really trying to shed that negative belief, but let yourself be imperfect. Don't try to make it sound good while you're journaling. Like, who's going to read that? You know what I mean? So just be imperfect, play on the page, like just write something and don't worry about what it looks like or what it sounds like. And just be imperfect, and also be imperfect in like the way you do things too, not just like the product on the page, but like, or the output on the page. Like, be imperfect in when you write, you know, like not keeping a schedule, or, you know, whatever it is for you, whatever perfections are holding you back, ditch them. Just let yourself be imperfect in this place. So that's my number 1 tip. The second tip is to let yourself be uncomfortable. Also very hard for me to do, and a direct result of being imperfect. So if I'm imperfect, I feel uncomfortable. So not only am I asking you to be imperfect in your starting writing again, or starting anything again, be imperfect, be uncomfortable. And that means if you're bored, just be bored. Boredom is actually good for your creativity. Maybe you're annoyed with yourself because you feel uncomfortable and you don't think you should be. Just be annoyed. Like, don't attach anything to that. Just feel the feelings. Be annoyed. Be bored. Be fearful. Be scared of like failing in public. And do it anyway. So let yourself be imperfect. Let yourself be uncomfortable. The third tip is to let there not be any rules. And I really like this one. This one gives me a lot of freedom. I don't feel hemmed in. I do like having some structure to like kind of support me, but the rules stifle me and stop me and block me. So just write for yourself. Don't try to write to market, or try to write something that your husband will like, or that your mom will like, or, you know, write the thing that shows up in your heart that day and at your fingertips. Let there not be rules. Write for the one, write for you. Have fun with it. Try new things, or not, or just journal, whatever. Just write something on the page. Number 4 is to let yourself feel inspired. And explore whatever that is for you. And this is sort of like filling the creative well, but I think probably it is. I just like the way that sounded a little better, because feeling inspired, or letting yourself feel inspired, I guess, also involves carving out the time for you to have that space to feel inspired. and maybe for me, for instance, being in nature is an inspiration. I feel really connected to the universe and to source and to that piece in me that has, that creative spark. Just getting some fresh air sometimes. I really like being in my house and being on my screened-in porch and seeing the view, so I can be at home and be in nature at the same time. So that's really lovely. But sometimes it's really good to actually leave the house and go for a walk, or just drive down to the town off the mountain or something like that. So let yourself be inspired. Find out what that is for you. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's dancing, feeling good in your body. Maybe it's movement some other way. But find out and explore what feeling inspired is for you and what it feels like in your body, so that you can tap back into that. And then the last tip is to start small. I'm an Aries. I love big starts and fiery ambition, and I usually have big, grandiose ideas. And then the limiting belief I have held in the past is that I didn't have the follow through, which I don't believe is true anymore. But I do tend to get more excited than I have stamina for. So start small. Don't sit down and think you're going to write 3,000 words or 2,000 words or 1,500 words. Maybe you start out by writing 25. You can be really tiny here just to get started, because what's important is the action and the forward momentum and trusting yourself again. So if you say, I'm going to sit down and write every day, maybe it is opening up your manuscript every day. Start small. Open up the Scrivener document. Look at your manuscript. That's it. You don't have to write anything. Just open it up, look at it. Start small. You can do short time blocks, write for 3 minutes until that feels easy, and then write for 5 minutes, and then write for 12 minutes, and then write for 20 minutes, just incrementally move it up whenever you feel ready. Rachel Herron one time on her podcast was talking about being consistent and having that consistency with ease and grace, and so for her, I think at the time she was just writing one phrase or one sentence, just opening up her document and writing one sentence. Now obviously after you write one sentence, sometimes you want to write another one and that's great, and you can write another one, and that's how it kind of gets, because getting started is really the hard part. It's that inertia that we have to fight against and get that ball rolling and get us moving forward. So once you have committed to, okay, I'm going to do this, and you open up the document and you write one word, one phrase, one sentence, then maybe that will turn into a paragraph. And if you write a paragraph every day, 5 days a week, you've got a really substantial piece of fiction or nonfiction that you can work with and be proud of. So those are my 5 tips for getting started again. Let yourself be imperfect. Let yourself be uncomfortable. Let there not be any rules. Let yourself feel inspired and start small. I hope these will help you get started on your projects again, get started with your writing again, and have some compassion for yourself. Just start writing. And I will start writing too. We'll do it together. Leave a comment on the podcast. Rate and review the podcast. Tell a friend about the podcast. And go check out the Patreon page that's new, super shiny, awesome. And don't forget, you can go to valerieisan.com, IHSAN, and schedule a free consultation to see if there's anything I can do to help you live your aligned author life. That's it for now. See you next time.